Hey, this is Meredith Elliott Powell, and you know what time it is. It is 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. where I am in Palm Springs. And Mark, you are hanging out at home in Dallas today. But it is time, our favorite time of the week. It is time for Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to turn all of this uncertainty into a major competitive advantage. So, Mark, how's your week been?
Week has been good. Was on the road. Was in Omaha, doing another engagement in Omaha where I used to live. But then from
You
there,
work more in Omaha now than you probably ever did.
ever did. And then I was in Nashville, had a great time there, and back here in a office that's being remodeled. So, but hey, we got a good show. Should we
We
start it?
got we got a great show on tap for today. So I will go ahead and get us going. All right, welcome again to Sales Logic. I really apologize. I've looked all over this hotel for better lighting than I've got right now, but I think they're setting a mood here. But we will dive in, and you've got the audio that will be good. Sales Logic, just before Mark tells you what we've got on tap for today, and we've got a great show today. I always like to tell you how the show works. We start off with a question from you, the audience. So if you want to be a part of Sales Logic, and we would love you to, just send us a question. We'll feature you right here on the show. We have a hot topic. We share a book we think you ought to be reading. And because we want you to leave with return on investment, we have a lightning round. Strategies you need to put into place first thing. So, Mark, what is on tap today?
On tap today, we're going to be talking about should you use automation in sales? Okay, I think the answer is yes. It's what type of automation. So that's what we're going to be talking about. The question today comes from Davis Brown in Chicago. He says, would love to hear about how you and Mark use automation. I'm not using any automation currently outside of scheduling calls on my CRM. Should I be doing more? What tool specifically do you suggest and how to integrate it into my sales strategy?
Yeah, really, really good question. Well, the answer is yes. You should be automating some of your sales process, but not all of your sales process. What automation is designed to do is to allow you as the sales professional to be more customer facing, because that's where the highest and best use of your time is. So what can you do? What tools can you use in order to allow you to be more customer facing, more time engaging with the customer?
Key piece there, just because you can get a tool doesn't mean you should use it. I mean, every week there's a new shiny object that comes out. I'm amazed at the number of people who get funding to come up with some sort of a software tool to solve a problem that doesn't really exist. So, hey, you know what? If you're a solopreneur, and Davis, it sounds like you probably are, keep your sales stack skinny. It doesn't have to be complicated. Now, if you're in part of a larger organization, it's a different ballgame, different story. So maybe in time we'll have a chance. But I tell you what, for me, it's your CRM system. So Davis, if you're logging that in there, that is your number one go-to. What's the CRM system you use? I mean, I know the answer, but why don't you share it with the
Yeah.
audience?
So I have started to automate more of my sales process by using more of Zoho One. That happens to be the CRM that I use. My feeling is though, just use a CRM. You can't go wrong with whatever CRM you use. But what does my CRM do for me in terms of automation? Number one, it reminds me to make sales calls. That's probably the most important. By having that all automated, I get something that drops through my email every day telling me who to call and the notes that are in there to call on them. The other parts that I use my CRM for is I use quite a bit. My CRM is integrated with a program for speakers called Talkadot. And after I do a presentation, people can access my QR code, which is another part of my automation, and they will get some information from me. And once they get that information from me, Talkadot speaks to my customer relationship management system and triggers a 3 email drip to go to anybody who reached out to me for information, asking them to engage with me, asking them to do those types of things.
See, now what I like about that is you described a very specific tool that's used for speakers. I use it too. And it's a very, and this is the key thing. There are very specific tools that you can get for your industry. But let's talk about a couple that I think are very generic and very, very generic. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I'll tell you what, it is a tool, unless you're in some niche industry that really isn't into LinkedIn, you're going to find LinkedIn Sales Navigator as a very powerful tool. Another tool that I love now, it's an expensive date, Zoom Info. Now it's an expensive date, but really in terms of database, in terms of quality of data, in terms of emails, phone numbers, cell numbers, etc., titles, positions, it's probably the best tool out there. But if you're a solopreneur, you probably can't afford it.
Interesting. So do you use Zoom Info?
I use Zoom Info by way of some clients who have it, and they have provided me access. But it's about a $20,000 a year date. So in other words, you're not going to use it, and that's just for really a few licenses. So in other words, you're really not going to use it if you're a solopreneur. But once you get above 5 or 6 salespeople, you're going to find that something like a Zoom Info, and there are other tools out there. Seamless AI, another tool that's out there, and there's a lot of data. Our good friend Sam Richter.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't use Zoom Info, and I don't use
Yeah,
Seamless AI. I use Sam's tool.
right.
I use the Sales Intel Engine, and it's incredibly affordable and unbelievable search engine capabilities on it. So we'll put a link to Sam's
Yeah.
Intel Engine in the notes, because I looked at Zoom Info and it was so expensive. I don't know anything really about Seamless AI, but in fact, I upgraded to Sam's Diamond
Yes, I
program.
did too.
Yeah, and I use and access that quite a bit. I love what John Register said here. I use BombBomb to reach out. I get about a 60% open rate for a meeting. BombBomb is a video tool. It's a really powerful video tool. What is beautiful about it is the moment I use Vidyard, but the moment that you open the email, the video is right there. Nobody has to click on anything. It just opens. And John, we will talk about the 3-mail drip and the more things that I'm doing to automate contacts coming out of my leads with Zoho.
See, this is what's key, is that you use the tool. You just don't have the tool. And this is what I find so many salespeople and companies. I was with a company the other day, and they said, "Oh yeah, we have Salesforce," but they really don't use it. They really do not use Salesforce. So here's the whole deal. I'd rather see you have a very small tech stack of, say, 2 or 3 tools that you absolutely use. BombBomb, John Register, you use BombBomb. There's Vidyard. There's another video tool out there. There's so many tools, but if you get it, use it. Don't just get it and think about it. And I'm going to go back to your comment about Zoho One, because I tell you what, I use Zoho One, and there's so many different features in it. For the smaller business person, it is an absolutely powerful tool. Now, if you're in probably that space of 3 to 15 or 20 salespeople, I like Membrane. Membrane is an absolutely fantastic CRM system. Now, you get larger, you get to Salesforce, but you see what we're talking about here? There's not one tool that fits everybody. There is not. You really have to figure out what are your needs.
Yeah, we do, John. We have a date next week, and I'll walk you through. How I do that. Let's start though. So, our question is from an audience member that doesn't use any automation.
Right.
So let's start up. Let's figure out what you need automated. I mean, that's like really when you think about if you think about automation. What in my sales process is slowing me down? Like right now, I'm struggling to keep up with all my leads. I have so many leads in my CRM system. So I'm sitting down and I'm talking to my assistant about how could we, if I divided these into A, B, and C clients, how could you take the C clients and automate connection with them. Because another piece of automation I use coming out of my Zoho one is my newsletter. My newsletter goes out every single week. It goes out to everybody on my list, and it goes out through LinkedIn as well. And all of that is automated through my ZRM.
See, that's what's absolutely key, because you said you got all these leads, but you got to segment them. And again, don't start what you can't finish. I find so many salespeople, what they do is they get a tool, they dump all their leads in there, and they can't keep up. And segmenting them into A, B, and C, I do the same thing. There are the leads that pretty much just stay over in marketing. And this applies to whatever size of company you're with. Those apply over to marketing. You, the seller, you, the producer, focus your effort on a very small group of prospects that you can touch frequently. And this is the piece that I always say. I'd much rather qualify rapidly so I can spend more time with fewer prospects. That's why I like LinkedIn Sales Navigator, because you may be on my list. We'll say I get this Meridith Elliott Powell. Who is she? I'm going to go out to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and I'm going to be able to gather intel on her. It's going to take me to her website. It's going to take me. So I can get all this intel. So in other words, when I begin putting Meridith into my A list, I know quite a bit about her. When I combine that with Sam Richter's Intel engine, that gives me a whole nother set of information. So in other words, now I'm going in totally armed. And this is the key thing. Don't allow tech tools to spread yourself too thin, because you know what? Sales is still one-to-one.
The other tool that I use quite a bit, and I got this from Sam's Intel engine. That's where I get all of my intel from. That's the only place that I really do any research is through Sam's Intel. And through Sam's Intel, I started using Lead Leaper, which verifies all my emails before I send anything out. And I love that tool. In fact, Mark, we should put the tools that we have in here basically into the show notes. So let's back up a moment and talk about parts of your sales process that should be automated. Number one is using tools for leads. Really, really important, because it's what helps you qualify leads. I use Sam's Intel engine to find my leads and to qualify my leads. It's where I build all of my lists from. I only use LinkedIn to go on and make a connection with somebody, but I don't do any research on there. You need to have a customer relationship management system, something that is managing your leads, and some form of your CRM should be automated. You should be using something to come out of your CRM that doesn't involve you. It's going to double your efforts of contacting people.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to share with you how I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. For instance, say I'm doing research on you. I'm going to then go to your profile, and I want to see if you posted something in the last couple of days. Maybe you posted something today, and I'm going to make a comment on it. But see, now I've got an opportunity, because it's fresh, it's current, it's what you're talking about. I can use that in my opening phone call to you. I can use that in my opening email to you. So that's one way that I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to propel my A's to even the top of the A's. Now, not everybody's on LinkedIn. Not everybody's using LinkedIn. But again, for those people who do, for those prospects who do, it works very, very well. You mentioned Lead Leaper.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second, because again, how many times have we all sent out emails and they go to nowhere? They go into space.
Yeah. So Lead Leaper, basically, it's just a little, I don't know if you call it a tool or an app or what it is, but it sits right on your desktop, and you just click it. You go to LinkedIn, you click it, and it'll basically search the profiles and give you the right verify the email before you send it out. It works about 80% of the time, which I find, really very powerful. But I tell you, another thing that you need to be doing, think in terms of automation, in that I am not looking to replace the sales process with automation. I think it's the worst thing you can do. It's trying to double my efforts. So before I contact any lead, I verify that lead is still there. Even if I contacted Mark a month ago, I don't know that he is still there a month later. And that is probably, you have to understand those pieces you cannot automate. You're going to have to do that work yourself. But I think of like my automation as another arm that I've got. So basically, I am going to reach out and I'm going to contact Mark on a monthly basis because I want to go to work for Mark. That automation is giving me another touch with Mark so that I am visible in front of him.
That's a great comment, what you said, that it doesn't replace you. This is the key thing, because so many times what happens is people, they buy this tool, they get this tool, and they think for some reason, it's going to do everything for them. It's like the gym membership. The gym membership is not going to get you fit at all. You got to go use the equipment. You got to go. And
Absolutely.
that is so key. There are so many tools out there, and this is what's key for you. Before you decide what tools you need, take a look at your sales process. What is your sales process, and what is your best manner of closing deals, and back your way up? And that's going to help guide you as to what type of sales tools you need. Because again, there are so many out there. There are tools out there like Outreach. There are tools out there that can automate. There are things like Ring Central that can do telephone work for you, etc. But again, you got to understand what's the end. What's the end, and how do you reach that? How do you reach that prospect? How do you close that prospect? And back your way up in terms of what you need. Otherwise, you will get tools that you will never ever use. Period.
Yeah, which we've all been there. We've done that. So one tool that I have started using recently, that I don't know if you call it automation, but it does make me more efficient and increases. Before I go talk to any prospect, I bought the upgraded Chat GPT. I've got 4, and I go in there and I research the company. And it'll tell me the latest news, the latest things on the organization, which I find incredibly valuable. I'll just put in there, tell me what the biggest opportunities are, tell me what the biggest challenges are this company's facing, give me the history of the company, and that way, when I get on to do an interview, I've got really I'm able to use the interview so much more powerfully because I've already got the basics.
Now, that's key. I'm glad you brought up ChatGPT, because if we didn't talk about AI, we would be remiss to ourselves and to the audience, and it is. And there's something key what you said. You use it as a research tool, and this is where I say, in fact, I was in this conversation yesterday. AI is a great starting tool. It's not a finishing tool. I'm not going to use it. There's a lot of AI tools out there that we'll write you your email. We'll write you all this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Those are garbage. Those are crap. Period. And I'm not going to allow myself to have one of those tools, but I am going to use it like you're using it for research to get you insights, because it's going to help you. It's going to give me talking points, and I'm going to start with that. But here's the cautious thing. Everybody claims that they've got AI baked into their tools, right? I mean, I'm amazed. I mean, I even saw a thing the other day, and it's so embarrassing. I won't even say it, but it is a software that you can use to automate signatures and so forth. And they say it's AI equipped. Well, what the point is that? Give me a break. You're just adding a signature to it. Okay. So excuse me. Yeah.
Okay, Mark's a little worked up right now. So let's talk a little bit about follow up. It's funny. I was sitting. I can't tell you how important follow up is. I'm so passionate about follow up in the sales process. Just Thursday, I was sitting waiting to go on stage, and my client was running about 30 minutes behind. So I just thought, well, I'm just going to sit here and just send a few emails out to some clients. I've got a little bit of time, and I sent an email out. My husband and I were at dinner last night in Palm Springs at 9:00 on a Friday night, and I had followed up with a client and said they had to cancel the event last year due to a COVID outbreak. I shot an email sitting there waiting to go on stage at 2 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. I shot an email and I said, really have enjoyed, staying in touch with you. Don't know what your plans are for 2024, but if you want to, I hate that we had to miss it due to COVID, but if you want to try again, I'm up for it. Last night, I'm sitting at dinner in a Mexican restaurant in Palm Springs, California. And not only did she say, yes, I want to revisit it again, she shot me the contract. She said, if you're available on these days, just sign this and send it back to me. So you've got to follow up. But my point is, without automation, I would not remember to follow up with people. So now automation is only as good as what I trigger the automation to do, right? So I have to actively use that customer relationship management system, and I have to trigger and say, contact this person, November the 11th at 5 a.m. in the morning or something. But that is so key in automation process.
Okay, now there's something key that you said there. Yes, I'm going to use it to automate it and help me do it. But you specifically wrote the message, right? And this is what's key. This is where I think too many people. I was in a meeting about a week or two ago, and marketing department was telling sales, "Oh, we're going to handle all these emails. We're going to handle all this cadence for you. We're going to do all this sort of stuff for you." And I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, this Salesforce is literally checking out. And let me tell you something, their close ratio is not going to happen. Because again, I'm going to use tools to prompt me to do an activity, but I am going to control it. Now, go back to what Meredith said earlier. She has too many leads, right? So there's some C leads that she's not going to worry about. Those are going to be totally automated. But for those A leads, like this person you texted or you sent the email to yesterday, that is so spot on, because again, it was a one-to-one communication. One-to-one communication is still the way that we measure success, and we will be the most successful.
Yeah, I love what Adam says here. Leveraging automation on repetitive activities in my sales routine frees me up for using my time and energy for higher level skills. That's the exact point of automation. And Natalie, thank you so much. We'll include this article in the show notes from Forbes. Natalie sent an article that five chat GPT prompts for winning sales meetings. That's definitely. I love the fact that John put in here that he creates a bomb video every time he loses a deal. John, I just shot a video about this. What do you do when you lose a deal? Like, I just lost one. It went out of my pipeline. I lost to another speaker. They have no interest in me. I just got right back on the phone and started making more sales calls. So well said.
You know what? And that's so key that you lose. Here's the deal. You go through all this effort and you lose a deal. Don't give up on that, again, because it's amazing. Things always come back around. I see this all the time. I see this all the time in major SaaS deals where it comes down to a beauty pageant of two companies, and one company gets the contract and one company walks away. And I always tell the company that walks away, you stay in the game, because you never know when that other company is not going to be able to fulfill that contract, and you're going to have the opportunity to get in. But here's the deal. If the automation system, and the number one automation system you have, is the tool that triggers you to do an activity. Oh, you know what that is? That's also aligning your calendar to where your calendar provides you with the time. Because again, if you are absolutely disciplined, Meredith, in terms of making your follow-up calls, making your sales calls. And, we talk about this all the time. I've got my dedicated times every day. But here's the whole thing. I find the vast majority of salespeople don't. They react to the day versus act on the day. So you can have all the sales tools you want, but you know what? Unless you're acting on the day, they're not going to work for you.
Yeah. All right, Mark, what's the book?
Hey, the book we have, Sales Automation Survival Guide by Dick Lee. Yeah. Talk to us about the book, because I'm not familiar with the book.
Yeah, well, it's just, I had bought it a while ago. I struggled at first with automation. I got automation confused in my head. I mean, I was thinking that automation was an either or. Either I was automated or I was making sales calls. I didn't really understand how to integrate it. And the book is kind of a very simplistic view of just getting started with how to get going with automation. So even if you have a highly automated sales process, I would still go back and use this, because anybody that I find that has a highly automated sales process has taken themselves out of the sales um, process. And if you take yourself out of the sales process, then you don't understand what automation what automation is for. I mean, it's kind of like, here's what, I'm trying to think of a really good analogy to get sales. It's kind of like, when you think about, when the wheel was invented or anything like that, it was still somebody, the farmer in the field, versus the mule versus the tractor. It's still the farmer doing the work. They're not taking their intelligence out of understanding the soil and understanding what needs to be planted and navigating the weather. They're just making themselves that much more efficient. And that's what automation is for. Don't take yourself out of the personalization of it, but you have got to automate parts of your sales process. You can't possibly keep up with everything you've got to do.
And I'm going to add one comment to that. Always be evaluating. In other words, every year, go through an assessment. Does this tool make sense? Should I keep this, et cetera, et cetera? So anyway, hey, excellent. Hey, let's get to the lightning round. Lightning round, top automation tools. Go.
Number one, I would say a really good CRM.
Number two, LinkedIn Sales Navigator.
Number three, Sam Richter's Sales Intel Engine.
Number four, Vidyard or BombBomb.
Yeah, I would use number five, ChatGPT.
Number six, Zoom Info. Find a client that you can scam it off of if you can't afford to get it yourself.
Yeah, I cannot afford to get it myself. I would say that some type of tool that you want to use for email automation to get regular emails out of there.
And I'm going to say DocuSign or some tool to help you sign and manage contracts.
Yeah, QuickBooks or something like that or FreshBooks to automate your invoices and your collections.
And please make sure that you are using a VPN system. So when you're in a public area, your data is not spraying to everybody in the world.
Yeah, you need some tool like Teams or Zoom or something like that, so that you can not only you can make video calls, but you can control those video calls.
And I'm going to share with you, if you can find a way, get Chorus or Gong to record your calls, because it's amazing. Even if you're a solopreneur, go back and record your calls. What did you say? How did you do it? Be continuously improving yourself to continually get better. You share one more, I'll share one more. We'll close it down.
Oh, I thought we were. No,
okay.
That's okay. I'll get Lead Leaper. If you're not verifying your emails, verify your emails.
And be subscribing to Sales Logic Podcast, because that's an automation. That's a tool to help you do it. So with that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single $1, hey, consider telling a friend, because it's how we grow when we help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
And remember, what am I supposed to say right now?
It's all right. Just turn all of this uncertainty into your greatest competitive advantage, and the sale becomes logical.
There we go. Hey, Meridith always comes through. Hey, thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. Hey, Meridith, promote for a second Sales Logic Mastermind, because we're live.
I just put it up there. Join us on Sales Logic Mastermind. I want you right now to go to the saleslogicpodcast.com. Check out all of our downloads there. You can leave us a review, but also check out the Sales Logic Mastermind. We've got some great new technology we're going to be revealing to the group. We've had some great members with us here this morning, but check it out. Because together we're going to make 2024 the best year on record.